So, Gary, can you explain, please, what exactly is EFT and how does it differ from all the other therapies that are available across the world?
Well, EFT is an innovation in therapy that has reduced the therapy process, the typical psychotherapy process, from taking weeks, months, or years down to, in many cases, minutes or hours, a session or two or three, something like that. And it does that because it borrows, unlike any other therapy out there, it borrows from the Chinese acupuncture meridian system. We are actually blending something that's been well known for millenniums and bringing it into practical use for people. One way to describe it is it's EFT is an emotional version of acupuncture, except we don't use needles. Rather than use needles, we stimulate various meridian points by tapping on them with our fingertips like this, while we focus on a given issue. And so that's the essence of it. The typical therapy session. It has a therapist, talking with a client and trying to get insights and understandings and things like that. And all of that is very useful. But with EFT, we're actually getting down to a different form of cause. What's really happening, and this is a discovery behind EFT. In fact, it's got one sentence: the cause of all emotional or all negative emotions is a disruption in the body's energy system. Okay, and so that's the difference here. That's Instead of having to talk about it forever, we're now recognizing that what happens is if you have an emotional issue, anger, guilt, grief, trauma, this kind of thing, what happens with your energy meridians, these electrical circuitry in your body, is they get a short circuit in them, much like a radio might have a short circuit. And if it does, you hear a zzz, in the radio. Okay. And so that's what's going on when you're angry about something and you're feeling all this, you feel guilty and all of this. Your energy meridians are out of balance. And so by doing this process and sending balancing energy down the meridians, they balance out. And properly done, you couldn't get upset if you tried. You can try to get angry if you want. You can try to be guilty and all this if you want. But if it's done properly, you can't do it anymore. Go ahead.
And Gary, that was my first experience of EFT many, many years ago when I was so angry, so caught up with resentment and bitterness and oh goodness me. And I had one session of EFT with a fully qualified practitioner. And just as you said, she said, right, take yourself back now to that scenario. And you know what? I could not get angry. I tried so hard. It had completely taken the charge out of the emotion, and that's what did it for me. It is the most incredible thing, incredible therapy.
Well, yes, and those experiences happen with millions worldwide. It is now spread around the world. There are millions that are exposed to this. Okay, I want to go a little step further. One of the findings that we have when we first discovered how handily, properly done, it handles emotional issues. We then discovered a kind of a common sense thing that once we start reducing these emotional issues, then physical things start to get better as well. I mean, it's common sense. We sort of just know intuitively that if we're really angry about something, it's causing us some kind of a problem physically, and we keep it around a long period of time. We develop real diseases that we develop cancer, we develop multiple sclerosis, we develop arthritis, we develop all kinds of headaches and all kinds of things. And as we reduce now all these emotional contributors to these physical ailments, we've had people get out of wheelchairs. We've had tumors subside. We've had migraine headaches that have been around for years with people and show up once a week or once a month, etc., fade and vanish. I mean, it's pretty jaw-dropping. I do want to emphasize, though, that it's not, some of these things will go away in moments, not cancer necessarily, but some of the other physical things. They'll go away in moments, and people go, wow, about that, but they don't realize that there's so much more to learn about this process. And if they really get into depth, that's when they can expand it even further and go into serious diseases. Also, performance, singing, sports, whatever, that all improves, and on it goes. So we're just starting here.
Gary, just to finish off on this question then, how does it differ from other therapies that are available across the world?
Well, yeah, I think I touched on that to begin with. It's the bringing in of the Chinese meridians into the process. Basically, it's much like the therapy people are used to, with the exception that we're bringing in this other powerful thing, and we're addressing the actual cause, being this disruption that goes on in the energy meridians. You can talk about these things all day long, and that has some help, but until you actually address what's really going on inside the body, you're going to be limited in how far you can go.
I think what I love about it as well, it's bringing in the ancient Eastern acupuncture with modern psychology. So
Yes.
that's why it works so well for me. And
Yeah.
I really think it is a fabulous technique and therapy that people need to be using. And just to finish off on this particular point, with me having got rid of all my negative emotions, anxieties and worries and anger and resentment and all those things that I sort of put in my former life, as I call it, I'm never ill. I feel so well. I'm a very, very positive person now, but also having got rid of and let go of all those negative emotions that all, as you've just said, create so much dis-ease in the body, which then manifests as disease and of course, and depression and stress. And of course, I'm afraid feel quite strongly about it, that people might go to the doctor and of course they're far too easily put on antidepressants, which of course, as we know, doesn't get to that root cause of the problem. So,
Yeah, I'm not a doctor here, so I really can't comment on all that kind of thing, but we've had many, 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 many cases where people will get beyond things that confound doctors. They just don't understand it because they have a very different training. I mean, how can something like this, tapping on meridians, take care of this ailment that medicine has not been able to do anything with except cover it up with drugs or whatever the case may be. It gets very astonishing, and many of them just simply won't believe their eyes, but many are coming around to it, but that's another story.